Alright guys, we are in the lanes for Q1 on Friday here in Pomona. It was very hot today. It's starting to cool down now, but it was 90 some degrees today. But I kind of like that because Mike gets down a hot track better than most, so that's good luck for us. Hopefully we can go A to B, get in the field. I think there's 20 cars here this weekend, which is awesome. It's good to have good full fields again, and see if we can't put ourselves good in the field and make something of this last weekend, last race of the season. I had a question on chutes and the pull cables and that, on how long they last and things. Well, we don't run cable. We actually run it's a wire, and it's a pull wire, so they last, unless they get hurt from a blow up or something, they'll last seasons. And the chutes, the lifespan's usually until they pull themselves apart. I mean, we inspect them and look for tatters and tears, but there's no set number of runs or how many times they're deployed. It all depends on what they look like and the wear. Usually they let you know by tearing themselves apart on a pass. Other than that, that's pretty much it on the chute system. You can see down here on the lever, I don't know if you can see that, you can just see where the cables, they're not cables, they're just wires that get bent over and fused, but it's just a wire, and it works really well, and so they last a really long time. I have cables on my own car and they don't last near as long as what we have on this. So Gabriel back asked, why are the spark plugs under the cover? And that's for safety. So I'll have to show you the spark plugs when they're not in here, but the spark plug holders, it goes in and this holds them down, because sometimes these things, you'll pull the threads out of the spark plug hole, or blow the middle out of a spark plug, and that'll help keep stuff from going out into the stands or anything like that. So they're underneath there, locked down to help as a safety measure, just in case they blow out. Hey guys, I thought I'd real quick just add a little bit more to the whole spark plug wires and all that being underneath those hold downs. So here's the end of the boot, you know, it goes down in the tube of the valve cover, and then it's got this flat on the top, and that we got a cushion deal, and that holds it with that cover we put on. And it's just, like I say, an added safety measure to keep anything from trying to go out into the stands. Alright guys, it's Saturday here in Pomona. Car's about ready to warm up. I'm working on building the short block. Last race of the season, last short block to get built in the Hornet's nest, and it gets a brand new Bryant crank. Woohoo! Anyways, hopefully we need this thing tomorrow in the finals. Alright everybody, we are in the lanes for Q2 here in Pomona. Q1 went pretty well. We ran a 75. It hurt itself a little bit, but not too bad. So just hurt some pistons, and a head, but block's good, rotating assembly's good. So here we go for Q2, see if we can't move up that ladder a little bit. I think we're 7th right now.
I think you bring me your present. I have water wings for you guys. So don't worry about drowning in my pool of water. I'm gonna get a life with you. Okay. right, here we go.
All right, guys, we are in the lane for Q3 here in Pomona. Q2, we only went in 85. We shut the car off early. It put a hole out, and Mike clicked the button on him, shut the car off to make sure we didn't hurt anything, which we really didn't. I mean, it hurt a cylinder head, but it didn't hurt the crank. Short block was good, so hopefully we can go A to B here and improve a little bit. We'll see. I know that I got asked, let's see if I got it with me here. I got asked why by Dion Neller, turning the engine over in the staging lanes. Why do teams turn the motor over while we're in the staging lanes? Two reasons. One, guys will turn it over, they'll just back it down just in case any fuel's leaked or burped through, which never happens, but it's a good idea just to back it down. It'll cycle it through to make sure that you don't have a piston loaded up. And then the other reason it's getting turned over is for the clutch. So he'll turn it over to put it in different positions for the clutch so she can either add or take counterweight away or to lock it down. There's a lot going on there, so you got to rotate the motor over so she can get to each part of the clutch if they're making changes in the lanes. That's what it's about. All right, check in later. So I got asked again about the battery on the car, and you got to remember that we use magnetos, so they generate their own electricity, so you don't need a big battery to create spark. So to run the electronics on the car, it is only that little itty bitty battery right there. That's all we run. Alright everybody, it is Sunday morning. We got 1320 setting up some cameras to do a time lapse of our service in between rounds 1 and 2, which will be pretty cool. They've been with us kind of a little bit this weekend. Anyways, Sunday morning, ready to roll. We got Alex Laughlin again first round. That didn't work out very good for us last weekend, but hopefully we can turn the tide on that. 1.5 points this weekend, so every round matters a lot. We could move up and we could also lose. I think we're 7th right now. We could move up to 6th, but we could also drop down to 8th. Antron's right behind us, and we're just a little bit behind Leah. I think mathematically it'd be possible if we won today and Billy went out first round to make it all the way up to 5th. So we'll give it our best effort. I'd really like to win the last race of the season. Car's running well. We had a good qualifying pass yesterday. 373 moved us to number 6 overall. So can't see if we can't turn 4 win lights on for you today.
It has been a warm weekend, and it continues that way, but it is a very beautiful 81 degrees.
Hey everybody, obviously Pomona didn't go as we would have hoped or liked. Super frustrating for me. I really, if we get beat, outran, that's one thing. When we beat ourselves, which is what I feel like we did, we smoked the tires basically from the hit and lost to a 388. And, we run a 388, shutting the car off mid-track. So, super frustrating to go another season without a win. And got close. We made it to the final a couple, made it to the semifinals on a couple. So, I don't know. It was a tough way to end it, smoking the tires like that, but that's racing. If it was easy, everybody do it, so to speak. So, anyways, unfortunately, that's it. I cannot believe that I am at episode 40 with this one. I appreciate all the questions and everybody watching. Most of the time, I have a good time doing them. Wish we could turn some more wind lights on for you, but that's racing. Figured here in this Pomona last race of the season episode, I'd answer a few more questions, and then this off season, I know I work at a machine shop. I figured I'd do some videos down there of some cool projects we have down there. A lot of high-end naturally aspirated stuff. I got a comp eliminator motor or 5 in the shop. Maybe we'll do a little bit with those, make some videos, answer some more questions. You guys keep them coming. I'll keep answering them through the off season if I can. And if I have some examples to film stuff other than just answering the questions, I'll do that. So anyways, once again, can't appreciate you guys enough for watching and liking and subscribing, and all the viewership that I've gotten over this last 6-7 months has really climbed, and it's been a lot. The questions I got was from Jay Walker, and he asked, I don't know if Clover does it or not, but a lot of crew chiefs touch the front of the valve covers during warm-up, and why do they do that? Do they do that multiple times? Are they feeling for heat, vibration? Been seeing this for years and always wondered. Actually, not touching the valve cover, they're reaching down and actually touching the head, and I do it myself in the warm-up or after seeing what Mike's feeling, just trying to learn. And it's all about heat. It's how much heat we put in the motor based on what the outside temperature is, and if we need to run air on it or try to cool it back down a little bit or leave that heat in it and cover it up to keep it warm if it's cold out, stuff like that. So they're just, by years of experience, they're just judging by about how much heat to have in the motor. If you do not have enough heat in these motors, when you go up and leave the line, it'll put a hole out. I mean, guaranteed. Same thing with an A-fuel car. They're even more touchy. If you don't have enough heat in them, they're going to put a hole out as soon as they see all that fuel. It's not going to be hot enough to vaporize, and you're going to have a problem. So that's what they're doing. So Andrew Greery asked, how many laps do you get out of a chassis, and are there several chassis builders or a few main ones people run? What's the difference in the enclosed cockpits and the open one like Clay uses? Is that driver's preference? Different chassis builders, enclosed versus open. Enclosed versus open is driver team decision. It's also an extra 30 to 40 pounds right in the center of the car where you don't really want weight. So we don't run one, obviously, and it's driver's preference if they feel more protected, or chassis builder. There's just a few chassis builders left that are doing these, and it laps out of a car really depends on what the car saw. So, I mean, it depends on if it's seeing a twist, how often you shook it, if you're having some problems, you've got some issues, if it's gotten out of true, or you've welded up a few cracks. A lot of these chassis don't go with just a whole new chassis. You front half them. A lot of guys will front half them anywhere between 40 and 100 passes, depending on what it's seen and what you're seeing. We inspect the chassis, and I've stressed this a lot on here about safety and keeping Clay safe. The chassis gets inspected after every 4 passes. All the body panels come off, you get flashlights out, and you crack check it from one end to the other very thoroughly. So you keep that in mind. We measure them, make sure they're staying true. And the pass, how many passes is a very arbitrary thing. Some guys will just front half them or back half them at a certain pass count just out of a matter of course. Other guys will run them longer. I got another question about how much does it cost a pass to run one of these cars. That varies greatly. It varies greatly based on team budget, what their part cycle is. So, I mean, it's a pretty big variance. I wouldn't even hazard a guess. It's going to be a big, broad spectrum, probably between $8-9 grand on some of the real budgeted teams, maybe even a little bit less, to a lot less than that if they're running all volunteers, just running a few races a season and it's friends wrenching on it, stuff like that. I'm sure it's a lot less. Probably all the way up to 20 grand to pass if you're cycling in new blocks every so many passes and heads, and got a real top-notch professional crew paying, some guys out there that have been around a lot longer making more than others. I did see a comment that was saying like our exorbitant crew wages. If you see anybody working on top fuel car or funny car and you think they're getting paid an exorbitant wage, and I would beg to differ. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that stuff. We make enough money to survive and have a life, and just like anybody else out there in the working world. Are we getting rich? No. Most people are doing it. If you did it by the hour, it's dismal by the hour. But you're doing it because you love it, and you can get paid to be able to follow your passion, and that's what we're doing. Appreciate all the questions. Keep them coming. I'll try to keep answering them. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving next week, and we'll see you all soon.